Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time to rise and grind. You know what day it is? Yes, it is that day. It is day one of 365. Wow, got to figure out how to shut this off because we don't want to hear that. There we go. So we're off. Day one, 365. Great big goals, but day one, because we're always excited on day one. Always, always, always. Come day 300, long time. Man, I've been doing this for so long. Can I just take a day off? No, no days off. 365 straight days of grinding away. And we're going to talk about what it means to be a grinder maybe tomorrow. Because there seems to be a negative connotation associated with it at this point in time. But, this is rise and grind. And so that's what we're going to do. Today, I wanted to talk about, going to have a little bit of Joe, but I wanted to break out this special mug. This is mug from Father's Day 2006, so 13 years ago, with a picture of my 3 daughters on it. Sorry about that. Because what we're going to talk about today is that whole thing of doing what I say, not what I do, and my belief that that's actually really, really bad advice. But those of us that have been parents of kids who have grown up have probably run into that moment when our kid says to us, but mommy, but daddy, you don't, and you kind of don't know what to do at that point in time, and you become all flustered, and so you say, don't do as I say, or don't do as I do as I say, or do as I say, don't do as I do. And we've all probably fallen into that trap. The reality is it doesn't ever work like that. We are the role models for our kids because we spend so much time with us and they look up to us from the time that they're born. They get food because of us when they don't know how to get food. They get their diapers changed because of us. We become their heroes at a very, very early age. And so they want to be like us. They don't want to do what we say. And so many of us fall into that trap of living a life different than the ones we want for our kids. And that's probably pretty natural, right? Don't we all want more for our kids than what we have ourselves? To me, that's just natural. So, oh wow, we got to get rid of that. We don't want to talk about coming soon. We're not coming soon. We've been here. So how do you do that differently? How do you model the behavior that you want others to follow? And because it's not just your kids. If you are being a supervisor at work, or say you're an entrepreneur, so certainly all of your employees, if you're a pastor in a church, if you are a leader of a youth group, any number of things, you want people to act a certain way, and you're a leader, and you can all hear it said, be that quiet leader, lead by example, not by what you do, because when what your actions are look different than what you're modeling, that incongruence shows up and is readily identifiable to people, even when they don't know that that's what they're looking at. It's a communications issue. It's amazing how when we look at all of these different disciplines, how they all tie in together, how if Kim were talking about communications coaching and media training, and she's talking about your entire communications package, and how sometimes there are those people that say all the right things, but there's just something about them that it feels slimy, feels like, I don't want to disparage any particular profession, but I'm going to go there. a used car salesman, right? We all think of used car salesmen. It's been presented to us as those are people who are manipulative. They're just trying to sell us a piece of junk and get large money. It's probably going to fall apart as it drives off the lot. And so when that communications package doesn't match up quite right, we just naturally don't trust people. And the reality is, words are kind of the last place that we've learned to communicate. We go back to babies and diapers and food and things. What do they do? They cry. When first, I don't know, none of us know whether a baby understands human words or not, because we've all kind of talked to the baby in the belly and said, we whisper in the belly and we think that the baby understands us. And maybe it does. Maybe the baby understands words. But also maybe not. So, one of the ways that they learn to communicate first is through body language, through tone, all of those things other than words. And so because we learn to communicate in those ways first, it's the way that we first look for clues and signals. And so we can say all the right words, but if the other pieces don't match up, we don't believe it. So what's the other way to do it? Instead of saying, do what I say, not as I do, why not simply just say, do as I do, and live that model? One of the things that I do is I coach. I am a coach. Beginning next week, sometime next week, I begin coaching junior tennis players again. I'm also doing a ladies clinic. And why am I jumping back into that? Why aren't I just devoting myself full on into my business? Well, guess what? I am devoting myself full on into my business, because one of the things that I want to do is to be able to sit here or develop a course on court talking about the value of chasing excellence in junior tennis. And I want to be that person who is working with players on developing excellence in junior tennis. I don't want to be that person sitting behind a mic who has all of the academic theories. And, I could look and I could point to the past, and I could talk about the fact that I've taken a player from hitting their very first ball to winning a United States Tennis Association National Surface Championship, what's called a gold ball. I could point to all of the successes that I've had over the past 30 years, and there are many. But I don't want to talk about what I've done. I want to talk about what I'm doing. I don't want to, at some point in time, I probably want to actually have some credibility with people like you on what I'm talking about of day one of 365. Well, that requires that I live a life of day one of 365. That's why, I got up today again to grind. It's why my alarm is set for 3:45 every morning. But guess what? My alarm doesn't wake me up. I wake me up. Because I'm that excited about day one all the time. So living that life, modeling those behaviors, give you credibility to others that they should listen to you. How are we doing that? It's really hard, because sometimes we get lost and we want others to be better than we are. And so we're always looking at the holes which we have in our own character, our behavior, and we're trying to make sure that we don't put those things out there on others. Sometimes we do that in a bad way. And people don't appreciate the fact that we're trying to push them in a direction that we're not going ourselves. You know, I want people to build some level of wealth. I really want people to be entrepreneurs. And I don't want to always think everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, because how would people like me build companies if nobody wanted to work for me, if everybody just wanted to work for themselves? But those people who do want to be entrepreneurs, I want to be able to be credible and saying, here's what worked, here's what is working, and here are some things which haven't worked, which I'm not trying to do again. You know, I got that part down. I've been an entrepreneur since 1986, when I came home from my honeymoon and I said, honey, I'm quitting my job and I'm starting a painting company. And well, that painting company grew into a construction company. And it was a construction company where we wanted to do huge things. We hired an AIA architect who was on staff. We had estimators on staff who their only job was to go out and do estimates, bid on jobs. And we grew it to a pretty significant size business. So have some credibility in what it took to do that. We took Tennis Center from basically nothing to where we increased revenue 51 out of 52 months. We went from having one employee and the two of us who were the principals in the company to having over a dozen employees. So have some credibility in that arena. But guess what? At the moment, I don't have any employees. We're now trying to build up this business to where we do. So I'm like, okay, so if I say to people, do as I do, not as I say, and I say, well, you have to have employees because otherwise you're not really a business, you've just created a job for yourself, which is what I've done at the moment. I've created a job for myself, but I want to have a business. So I've got to get to the place where I actually am employing other people, where I can walk away from it and it's not dependent upon my labor in order for it to bring in revenue that can go into the company's bank account and then into my own bank account going forward. So I'm busy trying to build that. At the same time, I'm working on having multiple streams which are coming in. So I'm not going to be coaching tennis just because I want to be able to say I coach performance level tennis players who are excelling, not trying to excel, because trying to excel, this whole thing of being competitive, just means you're part of the middle of the pack. I want to be working with players who are crushing it. I want to be working with people who are having businesses who are crushing it. You know, the one place I'm not sure I will ever have great credibility is talking to people about, you know, relationships. My relationships, my history of relationships says I've been married twice and divorced twice. Am I doing much better at this point in time? I certainly am. I've been in the same relationship for 12 years now. But there are things associated with it, fear, because I failed before, that I haven't managed to get past. And I need to get past those things. So in that case, I need to be looking to other people to model things. I need to be looking at those people who have been married for 20, 30, 40, 50 years successfully. Ran into somebody not too long ago who had been married for 70 years. Imagine that, 70 years. I can't imagine being alive for 70 years. To have been married, must have gone through all kinds of ups and downs, and wow, that's tough stuff. So my first goal is to get the me right. I've got to be doing. And then as people just watch from afar, they'll see what I'm doing. And if they think I'm doing well, then they'll copy me. If I have a platform like this that I can get out and I can talk to people about the things that are working and maybe help them, I'll have credibility. I learn a lot by watching videos. I feel like I'm in this never-ending, multiple PhD level program on how to improve on things. So like this morning, my alarm went off, though I was already up. Actually, when my alarm went off, I was sitting in a chair over there. And I was watching a video on YouTube on a holistic health practitioner. It was a system which had been recently presented to me, and I wanted to know more about it because I'm just curious. I'm a lifelong learner. So I go and I watch people all the time some of whom I listen to, and others whom I'm like, wow, that person, yeah, no. Most of the time, when I find myself truly attracted to someone, it is because they are also doing whatever it is they say I should be doing. So I look and okay, you're killing it. You're crushing it. You've got a video production business that is creating commercials and corporate work with Fortune 100 companies. I have a video production business. That's awesome. I have a public relations and marketing firm which has clients, is trying to get more clients. You're telling me how to get more clients and do better with this, but I can't find the evidence that you've had any success doing that. Maybe you're just watching the stuff that other people are putting out and you are mimicking it back. You're being a parrot. If you watch some of the old rants and raves and As I See It and those types of videos from 5, 6, 7 years back, you will hear me talk about the first thing that as a coach I did was I went to a bunch of seminars and I watched people like Nick Bollettieri give his presentation on something called System 5, which he actually borrowed from somewhere else, or at least so the story goes. And I got to where I could pretty much do the presentation rote, because everywhere I went, Nick was presenting on System 5 at that point in time. This was, I think, 1992. And so I got to where I could do it as well. But then I figured out how to synthesize it in my own coaching. I didn't go to a seminar and take the information, and I couldn't wait to get back to the court and get out on the court and present it exactly as it had been presented to me. I figured out how to take bits and pieces of it and understand the essence of it, and then use it in a way which was most beneficial to the people who were counting on me for their own development. There's a lot of people out there that aren't doing that they really don't understand. If you were to listen to one of their videos and then have the chance to sit down and interview them, they don't understand how it works in the real world. One of the books that I've read, the things that they don't teach you in Harvard Business School, that is the reality of it. The real world isn't like textbooks. The real world has challenges. It's full of real people who have other experiences and other expectations which differ from each other. And so you have to be able to adapt. And the only way to understand that and to be able to help somebody else with it and to truly be honest with what you're presenting is to actually do it yourself. So, what are you doing that you want other people to model? Where are you absolutely crushing it? And who are some of the people who you're trying to model yourself after? I'd love to know in the comments who those people are, because I'd like to kind of follow along with them, because I believe you have great sense. And if you share with me the people who are inspiring you, who you follow, and I can spend some time following them, maybe taking their courses or going to one of their seminars, then I'm going to get better too. So please do that. Thank you. And that's all I got for today. I guess we're out. Peace.